Are you tired of having 0-10 Sennas on your team? Then how about watching this video learning everything about Senna and how to play Senna like an absolute machine, like the very best Senna players on this planet. So no more 0-10 and more like 10-0. So why should you pick up Senna? Senna is the most versatile, most powerful and most annoying support champion in the existence of WildRift. She can be played like a carry and she can also be played like an absolute tank. And all you have to do is adjust items, and that's basically it. To make it easier for you, we already prepared 3 different item builds, which will basically be your item sets to go to when you want to go and win more games on Senna. So let's give you the breakdown. For runes, it will be basically the same every single game. You'll rush Kraken Slayer, you'll run Nullifying Orb, Bone Plating, and Overgrowth in combination with Giant Slayer. If the enemy team doesn't have any HP targets, you can obviously change out the Giant Slayer for anything else you need. Kraken Slayer is Senna's best rune. With the ability of using your auto attack into your first ability into auto attack, you can reliably proc this during the laning phase to deal even more damage. Nullifying Orb, Bone Plating, and obviously Overgrowth grant you so much more effective HP, which makes your champion naturally tankier. You already have infinite scaling, so why not double dip into more defenses? And, well, Giant Slayer is just broken. For your support item, you will always go for Relic Shield. And stop, okay? Before you say, but what about my souls? What about my souls? You'll get more than plenty enough souls with this. Relic Shield is the best support item by, well, 50 billion miles. Nothing comes even close. You have lane control, you have HP, and everything you want on demand. aka the sustain from Relic Shield. As for the trick, just don't last hit cannons. You can choose which minions you last hit, and therefore you're not forced to last hit cannons. And with this in mind, you basically don't lose souls. And the healing you gain from this item, as well as the HP you gain, is basically allowing you to trade more often and therefore getting more souls. So if you think you get less souls with Relic Shield, I'm sorry, you're just playing terrible. As for the boots, now we come up with the more standard Senna build. In this instance, it's going to be Gluttonous Grease. We are a very powerful champion that lacks mobility, but if we get to attack from high range and get to run down people, Gluttonous Grease will make our day wonderful, and the day for the enemy quite terrible. For our first item, after all of this, we go for Mana Immune, then Black Cleaver for tankiness and mobility haste, then for Infinity Edge into Mortal Reminder, and then we go for Locket. If the enemy team has a lot of burst damage, we can usually just cast our ultimate, and while it's winding up like in the cast time, we press Locket, and therefore we mitigate most damage incoming into our team's face. Alternatively, you can also think about Quicksilver, or obviously Stasis if the enemy has certain champions like Fizz or Zed, and they might be a problem to you. Now we move over to the second build, which in this instance is going to be the Tank Senna build. What we're gonna do is, if we are facing heavy AD champions, we'll go for Plated Steel Caps as our rush item. This, standalone, makes us tankier by more like 30%. The next item after this is going to be the Gauntlet. With this, we will not be dealing so much damage at this point, but we will not be able to die and we will provide a lot of healing and control during fights. After this, we go for a Sense Reaver because for Mana Immune it's a little bit too late and we need the Mana and Mana Sustain, and then we go for Infinity Edge, Mortal Reminder, and then you can basically choose the same enchantments again. The last build you can go for is the full offensive Explosion build. You have no defenses, but you have a lot of damage and a lot of accelerated crit. In case you didn't know, excess crit rating on Senna is converted into lifesteal, which means you don't really have to invest into lifesteal items and can just go for raw damage. So for instance, it's again Gluttonous Grease, then we go for a Sense Reaver because it grants us crit faster as well as the access to more mana, and then we go for Infinity Edge. Now we go for Mortal Reminder, Runon's Hurricane, and then again we decide what enchantment we want. Keep in mind, this Senna build is very squishy, and if you make any kind of mistake, you will just instantly die. However, with this version, you will deal the most damage possible, while also having mana. If you really want to, you can also remove the Ascent Reaver and go for raw damage with an Infinity Edge rush right after your boots. But then you'll run out of mana quite fast. And now we'll break down 2 gameplays and I'll have an added gameplay from stream. So you have a lot of footage to learn from and you'll get some added notes and obviously commentary. Okay, hello, and we are back with another Senna video. Or rather, another gameplay of how to showcase you what a Senna can do. We are playing Senna and Nyla into, I think, Lulu and something else, which we'll see in a few seconds. For this replay, I don't have the minimap enabled because I'm testing different things, but yeah, we'll get the idea. Oh, you get the idea. And it's Lulu and Tristana. Okay. let's quickly talk about generally how to play lanes and what to do. We chose to approach the enemy through this brush down here and hope for the enemy to either meet us or catch them off guard. From this angle on, we can maybe go for a quick trade and back off, but there's one issue with our lane. Nyla is a melee champion. As a melee champion, we can't really do too much against the Lulu Tristana early game if they are keeping us at range. So as a consequence, we wanted to do something cheesy and gain an early game advantage. In this instance, it's not going too well right now because the enemy can just trade us, but on the benefit for us is I can just trade back and we have the sustain and they don't. Now, with the lane as it is right now, let's break down the lane fundamentals for you. So, on your screen, there's currently 4 different actors. There's 2 here and there's another 2 here. Now, if you take a good look at these champions, just draw these lovely lines. Which champions can currently interact with each other? Currently, as of this moment, the Tristana and I can interact, and these 2 can't interact at all. Now, what can I do to avoid the Lulu running to me and interacting with me? I can take the fight up here into the river and then do a ring around the Rosie. What I can also do is I can back off in this way, but what I can't do is backing off in this way. If I back off straight, the Lulu might be able to get an extra hit on me, and then the trading won't be worth it. But if I go upward left, then the Lulu can't reach me and has to maybe even flash. My Neela at this level doesn't really do anything because she is not a ranged champion. She has to hit her first ability to be able to do anything. Now let's take a look what happens. I'm moving up, the Tristana walks back, the Lulu isn't joining, and the Lulu is basically using her spells for fun. Now, take a good look at what is happening the entirety of the time. Let's rewind for a second. What has happened here? What is the Lulu doing? Why is the Lulu not going for me? Why is the Lulu going to hit the minion? What is the purpose of her behavior? Why is the Lulu currently isolating herself again? Let's break it down again. The goal for every lane is to create situations in which you are in a 2v1 situation. Every 2v1 situation is a benefit for you, because you're 2 people that are trading 1. So, on this screen, let's quickly go forward. Here. We know that Lulu vanished into this brush. We don't have vision of this, but it's not relevant for us at this moment. We know that my Lila can't do anything right now, is backing away from the brush so the Lulu doesn't free poke her, and the Tristana is for whatever reason walking into me. I deal more damage than the Tristana in the early game because the Tristana is dependent on getting a lethal tempo and her bomb stacked. So in a quick trade, I always win. In an all-in, I would lose in terms of damage, but if I had somebody to help me, we would win as well. But taking a good look at this, she doesn't even have a lethal tempo, she has first strike. So, it is a 1v1 scenario in a short trade scenario, which I'll win. The Lulu is a non-factor here, she's not a range, not doing anything, typical Lulu behavior, and being useless. Easy trade, easy domination. Now Lulu comes and basically achieves nothing, gets clapped a bit, and Tristana doesn't even know anything about Senna range. There's a world in which I could have flashed for this, but the risk of the enemy having a summoner spell and just denying me is way too high, and we are winning already, so we don't have to force anything. We are basically now barraging the enemy base or enemy tower and can do whatever we want. With the wave under the tower, we can now walk into the river and place a ward. Ideally, we could have done this a few seconds earlier, and then we place a ward here. And then we use this here. So one person stays here, the other person walks up here, places the ward, and then we just use the vision plant, because then we have proper vision around this area here, and we can't get surprised by an enemy jungle gank, which will happen soon because Scuttle is spawning. She procs this, not a problem, we get the ward, and everything is fine. Now, I am not a big fan of what the Nunu is doing here. We had a lane lead, and it's not necessarily, it's not what we have to do. We can basically just play lane and be happy. And he doesn't even do us a favor and comes down here, he just walks away. For some reason, the Tristana is jumping on us, which is the Pantheon in this instance, and sadly the Pantheon is here, because think about this, okay? The Pantheon has to be here. If we don't see him on our blue buff and we take his blue buff, where's he supposed to be? He's probably pathing to his blue buff as of right now, maybe clearing the wolves and then coming to us. The Nunu could have known about this and help us. And for some reason he chooses to not do anything, and Pantheon is a weird champion and just kills you for fun. Pantheon is cool. Please don't nerf this champion. Nerf this champion. Typical support behavior, cancelling enemies' recall, making them upset. Very important. In a perfect world, I also get to hold the wave, for which I use my second ability, so the wave is held in place, and then just try to be at max range and make sure my AD carry gets every bit of XP, and we get every soul, and we get everything, and the enemy can't just reset. Neela early game is a really weak champion, and we can't do too much, and now Nunu is rolling in, we just attack, 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 he's going around the world, and we grab an easy kill. Now it's all about crashing the wave again and then resetting, but Pantheon flashes into our face and kills us. Well, we needed to push this wave. That the Pantheon was here was very smart of him, but sadly we got punished for it. Now, is the enemy pushing the wave? Yes or no? If the enemy is pushing the wave, my play here is absolutely correct by just waiting. The enemy is not even pushing the wave, and for some reason just does nothing. Which is in this case very good for them, because obviously the wave is slow pushing into them. But I have to basically stay here and pray. I really need to get the POV recording so I actually see what is happening. Because I always forget to record and it's always a pain. Pantheon is also level 5 now, which we know because of what he's done earlier. And yeah, it is a very problematic situation for us. We need to crash this, and then we need to leave ASAP. ASAP. I don't have any gold spent yet, and I need to spend my gold, and Pantheon could just jump in here. Now we are going back to the lane, and we don't know what's happening, because, well, we don't have the minimap enabled, and we don't have the POV of mine. Amazing. Good creator. Good player. Totally insane. Anyway, back at it again. We can now actually trade them, because we have the abilities. We have the ultimate abilities. Like, at least Nyla has them. I used mine for my team. But we at least have damage now. Don't forget, Senna as a champion loves quick trades and can sustain afterwards. Every bit of poke damage you get out is very powerful, and a trick that many people to this day don't know about, skill Q level 1, W level 2, and Q level 3 again. There's no real point of having your third ability on level 3, because your first ability's healing capabilities nearly double by putting another point into it, making it very more powerful, like a lot more powerful than your third ability at that point. The enemy bot lane is going on a vacation for whatever reason, which we don't have any idea about. And yeah, they basically grant us billions of gold. And then the enemy AD carry does an AD carry thing and walks up and gets absolutely blown up. Enemy jungler obviously instantly here as per usual, while your jungler is busy sniffing some glue. Well, in game. Now we know where the enemy jungle is. We can maybe annoy them a little bit at Dragon, but that's as much as we can do. There's not much for us to achieve here. Our team is going for like a bit busy otherwise, and we just take the reset again. Make sure to not die for your team's mistakes, and if your team is doing, for example, Herald, don't just walk into the Dragon and get yourself killed. It's such an absolute waste. It doesn't matter if you get the first Dragon. Nothing changes by losing it or gaining it. It is just a minor advantage that is not gonna change a thing. And yeah, here's a perfect example as to why Lucian is one of the most useless champions on the current patch. He just doesn't do any damage anymore. All I need is plated steel caps, and I basically loft into his face, and he can't deal damage to me anymore. And the only way he could deal damage to me is having magic damage in the form of Nashus or Solaris. Like, there's nothing he does to me. Also, with Senna in this very game, if you have like ranged CC in the form of Malphite or even a Gragas, you can use your Submarine, your third ability, and hide them in there. And even if they leave the circle, they are only visible as wraiths. And the enemy will not know what to do, and you can instantly kill them. Because they will not be able to react to your CC, and then it's a free kill for you. And because I have plated steel caps, the enemy Pantheon can't just jump me. I'm very tanky, and it's often even a bait for the enemy team. They believe they can kill me, but they will lack the damage, which in many situations and in many games will make the game easy for you, because the enemy will not check the scoreboard, nor will they have any idea what your items are. And then, well, they commit every single resource into your face, even though you can't die, and even if you die, they need literally every single spell on the planet, and then your team just kills them for free. But yeah, similar as to every support, you basically chill mid most of the game time. You make sure that you will be available for a play or defend or hide in the fog of war to protect your teammates from a play, and then rotate from this point on. And it's the easiest way to do so from the mid lane. You can reach every single point on the map the fastest, in the most reliable fashion, by just being mid lane. So again, as you reset, don't just randomly walk back to your lane, take a good look at what is happening, and then make your decision. Once you're mid lane, you can basically assist your team into making any type of play, be it your jungler trying to go for an invade, trying to go for a specific play, you'll be available. Another thing many people don't utilize is scanning for waves. What does this mean? Checking the laners, like your lanes, how the wave state is and how the resource state is. If if your teammate is low HP and there's a big wave coming, there's a high chance that the enemy jungle is going to drive by and try to get them killed. So what can you do? You can be there. You can know so early, like 20, 30, 40 seconds ago, simply by how the wave is built up and what is happening. That in mind, you can then utilize and catch the enemy off guard, because many people still don't understand that support is one of the most influential roles in the game, being completely proactive on the map. As for this game, I am mainly chilling mid lane because nobody gives a flying, you know what, about defending. So I make sure we don't lose the mid lane tower, and then I rotate from mid lane to other positions and just walk up. And here they are basically just tickling me. They can't deal damage to me. I have Iceborne Gauntlet, I have plated steel caps, and they're like full AD. Like the only magic damage on the team that could be a problem is the Lulu picks and Arden, if we're honest. But outside of this, they can't do anything to me. And Neela in this instance as well into full AD champions is so broken. But technically speaking, this is quite the boring game, isn't it? Because most of it is played via macro, and I'm just sitting mid protecting our tower, and then we just win for free. And here's a fight unfolding, and yeah, we basically see I'm not dealing too much damage, but they don't deal damage to me. They're tickling me. Like, it takes so long for me to kill them, but it doesn't matter. But now I'll Q the tower, right? Yes, I Q the tower to instantly kill it and then run after the Lulu. She even exhausts me for whatever reason, as if she's about to live, right? But yeah, it's actually comical how the Lulu magic damage is so much higher than any of their physical damage dealers. That is also sadly the depressing part when it comes to playing Senna. It's if you play full tank, you don't deal as much damage, so it's not as satisfying. So it's more about playing a game of ruining the fun for the enemy. Because if you're that tanky and utilize all your defensive layers well, because if you think about this, how many defensive layers do you have? You have your ultimate ability, you have Locket, you have your first ability, and then other like summon a heal as well. There's so many layers you can use for the enemy to not be able to kill you. And yeah, but for the future, I will try to figure out the best balance build into physical compositions, because I don't believe that going all the way into Gauntlet and Plated Steel Caps is the best choice. And for those fights, you see, there's not much they can do, and the only thing they can do is Tristana ulting Daniela away and hope for the best. But yeah, here also very important, all support players, listen up. If your team does Baron Nashor and you have high damage dealers and nobody that tanks, you as a support player are designated to tank, because the Baron Nashor buff does something very, very bad. Okay, in case if you didn't know, let's pause this for a second. Baron Nashor reduces the damage you deal by 50%, but that doesn't only apply to Baron Nashor itself, it also applies to enemy champions, cams, everything. So, if nobody's tanking Nashor and your damage dealers are swapping, are basically swapping aggro for no reason, then all of their damages are reduced by 50%, because as the debuff swaps, or basically supplied to another ally, it isn't taken away from the other ally. So multiple champions at the same time can have the debuff from Baron Nashor, which then leads to a very bad situation if a fight breaks out, because you deal 50% less damage on multiple of your carries. To avoid this, as a support player, please tank Nashor for your teammates. Oh yeah, and when the enemy jungle jumps into the pit, please stop hitting Nashor unless it's too low. Just kill the jungle first, then secure the Nashor, and be happy. Don't just flip the coin. Once the Nashor is dead, take a good look at minion waves, and then spread out. And don't press buttons for fun like Neela did with a W, because that could be very bad very fast. Another thing you can do as a very tanky supportive player, you can just tank minions and tank towers, and then let your team hit the tower if there's minions around, because then they won't die and you'd have an easier time, especially if you're very tanky. As you see here, I basically took 0 damage while tanking every single one and their families. Now, however, since we had a little bit too much fun, we all have to go home. There's gold to spend, there is position to be taken, and then once we are back on the map, we can do whatever we want. We are very tanky, we have a lot of damage now, we have scaled, we have a Nashor, we have now to force the enemy into basically losing their base. It's all about approaching multiple lanes again, and depending on the enemy team composition, we can force a fight in one lane. As you see here, I'll go into the submarine mode, and if anyone is too close and the Malphite would have stayed as a Wraith, then we could have just tapped one enemy, and with one enemy gone, the enemy usually can't do anything anymore, because they can't match the rotations. Now, one champion could have stayed mid lane, the furthest away from the minions, as Baron was still available, but Baron timed out here. And now we basically just have to wait for other people to be in position. We don't want to walk up as only 3 while our allies are enjoying their time in Narnia Southwest. That would be one of the only ways how we can lose the game, and that would be absolutely unnecessary. At this point, if we don't have Nashor or Elder, it's very difficult for us to get anything done. So we usually have to wait for enemy mistakes, which Delusion is doing wonderfully, because it's an AD carry, you know how it goes. They just run it down. But most of the time, it's all about waiting for enemies to make mistakes, because they simply cannot contain themselves, and then we just run them down. Oh, And now my Nyla used W early for no reason when there wasn't even a spell available. So now he doesn't have W. Like, and now he W'd again. What is he Wing? It's like, it's completely useless to W air because it either just mitigates 25% magic damage or completely denies any auto attack. And if, for example, W was available here and the Pantheon jumps me, then I block every single of his auto attacks from his second ability and he can never kill me. Great. Amazing. Well, we are back on the map, enjoying our time. But yeah, as a Neela, if the Pantheon jumps you, use your second ability as he jumps you, and then you barely take any damage, because only the first part will deal damage like the spell, but the auto attacks will all miss afterwards. With Nasher respawned, it's now time to bait the enemy into coming to Nasher, because there should be no reason for us to do anything but the free Nasher. The enemy has to go here, and if they're caught in any rotation, we can just kill them, but the easiest way for us to force a rotation is by starting Nasher. We take away the vision, and if they place new vision, we basically take it away again, and then we wait for the Pantheon to ult in. If the Pantheon cannot ult in, then we will just take Nasher, and then we'll just end the game. With Nasher secured and the enemy basically still in the jungle, we can now slowly walk after them as we empower the waves, and then catch them off guard. It's a very simple concept that many people simply don't utilize when you have Nasher. Don't go for random fights, just walk your waves in, make sure the enemy can't clear them, and then play towards win. You don't need to always kill the enemy, because you can simply win by pushing waves. It's very simple. And that basically concludes this. And let's take a good look at the enemy composition again, and take a good look at our items. Okay. So, in this game, I went for a new type of build. I tried Bloodthirster. It didn't really feel that good, right? It was really not that powerful. By the way, we also played against rank 1. So, in case you believe it's a low elo game, it's actually like the highest you can possibly get. But yeah, the enemy illusion had a little breakdown. The enemy Tristana chose to be a Pea-shooter as per usual, because collector buyers are just very weird people. But yeah, the enemy team being full AD, I just chose to go for plated steel caps. As you see, we have a lovely locket. The enemy team has no Serpent's Fangs, so yeah, they're completely doomed regardless. I have high damage, I'm very tanky, and it's just an easy game for us. Alternatively, you can also go for the other builds I presented, and you don't really have to go for any of this build right now. But yeah, and I still have a stream gameplay later for you, so you should definitely take a look at that one as well. Hello, and now we are back at the video, and we are playing Kai'Sa and Senna into Jhin and Karma. The jungle matchup is Rammus into Fizz, which means Fizz usually can't really do much in the early game, and Rammus can basically do a free camp gank rotation. For the laning phase, we need to be really careful and mindful about them. It's not that easy to play into them, so we just have to be patient. Just make sure to not get too close to the minions in the early game so Jhin's grenade can't bounce, and just go for safe trading. We have the sustain, and they don't. They allow us to go for wave control, which then enables us to get a ward into the Tri-Brush, and then the Karma does something very sketchy, as in walking up. The Jhin is doing everything right. He should never ever get close to anything, because it's just an unnecessary risk, whereas the Karma is basically losing her HP for fun. She has a completely different idea as what should happen, and just trades her life away, and both of us gets into isolated one-on-ones, which allow us to just trade them for free, because in one-on-ones we are just way stronger. Also a thing many people don't even know about Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's laning phase is one of the worst in the game. However, there's one thing that is the saving grace. The enemy champion walking out of the minion wave or trading with you outside of the minion wave. That way you can use your first ability and your second ability reliably to focus just one target and not get blocked by minions. And Fizz is doing some unreasonable things. It just makes no sense that he's walking into our blue buff after all that has happened. One might even say that's an absolute win trade. Now, with this all done, it's time for me to quickly run mid lane because I see that the enemy mid laner is low HP. He, however, realizes this, and then I take my way back through their jungle behind the enemy lines. The enemy bot lane is very low HP, and they can't really defend themselves. If I hit them with anything, they just go sky. They need to be very careful, especially on the next wave, because we are still here, we can still go for a dive. And you see the power of Relic Shield that allows me to push so fast. They have nothing they can do anymore. They're completely out of resources and should never ever walk up like this. We miss a few spells, we throw a lot, and the Armadillo dies. Anyway, it's an absolute free dive, and even if we give away 1 life, it's super free. Another thing we have to keep in mind here is to not just stay close to the tower to hit for multiple platings, because we want to reset and spend our money. We want to have agency on the map. If we don't do this, we are basically throwing away our lead. We saw that the enemy Fizz walked into our jungle, and as a support champion I can just walk through the mid lane, or rather towards the bot side of the map, and be completely free as in like what I want to do. With me being here, there's also a genuine possibility, if I hit the spell, that the enemy mid laner loses most of his HP, but even now he lost a lot. Technically speaking, Yasuo shouldn't have pushed his wave, so he already started this, so I'm just joining him, but the wave was in a good position for him and for the Rammus to then do something, and in a sense of ganking because I was pushing into him, but he chose not to do anything. I'm sitting on my control ward and I'm just patiently waiting, now bullying out the Karma because I have free time. The enemy Karma serves no purpose here, and she basically can't do anything right now. She gets bullied by me, and if the enemy ever moves up at any point, they get immediately punished. My Kai'Sa is now in a perfect position to safely farm on her own, which is perfect. Leaving her in the 1v1 is way better than a straight up 2v2, because the enemy has a far more powerful 2v2, especially if Karma uses her empowered W. Karma uses her spell here, but gets caught because we already knew, like they already knew about everything. However, they still choose to fight like this for no reason. We catch them off guard, they die, Fizz has some trouble with his troll pole, and the entire play ends. Now it's time for a reset. We don't want to waste more time on the map, and we want to spend our gold again. Now with all this in mind, we take a look at the map and see like our Rammus is still busy doing his jungle clear, so we don't have anything to do. Our Ornn wants to hit platings or reset, and there's nothing for us to do there as well, so we just walk mid lane again. Our Yasuo is recalling, but that doesn't really matter for us, but he should not recall right now, he should stay, and then we clear another wave because I have 2 relic stacks, but he basically doesn't know. If the Yone walked up a little bit too far, he would have instantly died. Now look at what I'm doing. I'm holding the wave so the enemy doesn't get anything, while making the enemy mid laner basically cancel his recall. Now the Yasuo does the same mistake again, he starts pushing the wave for no reason, and he could have just avoided this. 8 seconds until dragon spawns, the enemy gen has to recall, maybe gets cancelled again, and we basically have full supremacy over the dragon area. It's very clear that we want to play around the dragon in this instance with all the setup on the map, and we ignore the Rift Herald. Rammus is still on his way, so we can just start this up and I can sustain my teammates with my healing. The enemy has no access to this, and I don't know what Ornn is trying to do, but he should just relax and clear the wave and not do anything. If the Jhin walks up slightly, he just instantly dies, and well, I don't know what he's doing, but it appears that he maybe watched some Netflix, I don't know. He had some issues, but if he walks up to the wave, he instantly dies. There's no way he survives, and he walks up, I start tanking, I can just walk out, nothing happens to me. The enemy will probably place the Herald mid, they place the Herald mid lane, and they'll get a lot of extra pressure. The Kai'Sa, depending on the item spike she has right now, can stay for the wave while I reset for mid lane, or we both go mid lane and look for an opportunity. Like, normally you should pan the camera into the mid lane to see what's happening, and then choose what you can do next. There's so much gold on the map right now, there's a top wave, there's a mid wave, there's a bot wave, so we don't want to go for a fight right now. I just reset because as of a possibility, because I would not be losing too much because I'm the support. And other champions just go around and farm gold. The issue with Senna and hiding in Fog of War, which you should do a lot of times, is your passive snitches on you many times. It just basically tells them that you're somewhere close, and then a soul drops and you're like, ah, great, amazing. But just keep in mind that rotations are very powerful for your champion, cut people's rotations and punish them severely. Rammus, I don't know what Rammus is doing, he's having a great time, and the Yone is going hard onto the Kaiser. But yeah, we get the Karma, and then we turn on the Yone. Rammus is very unbalanced, as you see. I survive, he survives, our Kaiser has an untimely demise, but it's not a problem. We get a lot of gold. Senna being fed is very toxic for the enemy team. The Fizz jumps on me and I just flash W away and he can't kill me anymore. If he hits me with a fish at that time, at that range, I will simply die. So I have to respect flash away, which I can do with my W, and then everything is fine. But if you get caught like this, you most likely die. Another thing you can do when the Fizz hits you with an ult is just pre-channel your ultimate ability. You will get the shield before the ultimate pops, and your ultimate cannot get cancelled unless you die. It's a very nice and important piece of information, because if you don't do this, well, you might be too late and then you simply die. Another thing, generally for supports, is you should always reset towards mid lane if you're not in need anywhere else. You can therefore influence the map so much more often than just walking back to your dual lane. And if you're a Karma player, keep please in mind to use Empower W, and my Ornn really has issues using his ultimate into the enemy team. Let's take a look at it again, okay? Here. So, I'm getting attacked here, and you see, the enemy jumped on me, I use ult to block all the damage, and you take a good look at this entire setup. So, why would you ever ult here as an Ornn when you could ult here and the entire enemy team dies? The enemy team is literally griefing on your screen. Them engaging on me while Ornn has ultimate is a death sentence. But, unfortunately for me, my Ornn has other ideas. Because yeah, you see, hit 2 people instead of hitting 4 people. And if he hit 4 people, then my Kaiser has ultimate ability. He can jump here, instantly kill him, walk after him. They're just all dead. They're all dead. There is no counterplay. And the enemy chose to do this. It is literally griefing. But yeah, it is what it is. It happens. We die. We get to trade 1 and another one. And for some reason, they don't get all killed. Well, that is solo queue for you. My team, as per usual, having a great time in the mid lane, now fully engaging onto the enemy, even though it could have happened earlier if the Ornn pressed his buttons. And we just take a good look at what is happening. My teammate gets eaten alive, and now my Kaiser is enjoying every single Jhin shot. Well, as a quick reminder here, if we take a good look, so now this happens, so my Kaiser can use me as a shield and we can both advance forward while she's walking behind me while I block every single shot incoming. But the issue is, if you start panicking, like I should walk straight here and he walks behind me. But now the panic starts happening, right? And splits apart. Now that we're split apart, the Jhin has an easier way of hitting one of us, and obviously I'm not the one about to die, but he is. And then yeah, he gets tagged by every single shot and goes sky. And nothing happens. My entire team is dead on a vacation, so I just have to chill and relax, just bully a little bit of the AD carry players, because they can't really kill me. You see, he's tickling me, and I'm tickling him, but I'm the support champion, and he's the alleged carry. And yeah, now I hope for my Ornn to get some juicy last hits so I can collect my souls. Thank you, good sir. Wholesome interaction. Good job, good job. Dragon spawning in 35 seconds, so we have to keep that in mind. We already have 1 dragon and we have a Rammus composition, which means resistances are very powerful, especially since we already have the mountain dragon. So we want to go there early to establish vision control. We want to establish control and just be around. If the enemy has no tools of face checking us, which they don't because they don't have the champions durable enough to do so, they can just never enter the area. Because take a good look. How can they ever go in here without immediately dying? There is my second ability, there's Ornn ult, there's a corridor, Rammus taunt. Like, we have the perfect demonic composition that the enemy cannot play into. And we can abuse the Senna, Senna submarine combo. And for some reason, the Fizz walks up, jumps in, and then our Rammus has a very interesting adventure in the enemy jungle and chooses to briefly commit suicide. But luckily, the enemy Fizz is equally as lost on the map and just instantly dies. And as you saw, the Fizz hits me with the ultimate, and I still choose to use Locket just to be sure I don't get one-tapped by anything that comes after. And then we just play the fight out of the pit, and we get everything for free. The enemy did a very good attempt of stealing it, which could have been very close, but they failed doing so. So we're happy. Now, what many people would do wrong, you see, there are so many waves on the map, 1, 2, and 3. So instead of just walking to my team here, I can just not and go here and clear the side wave. It is more gold for us, and the enemy loses more. There is still access to 1/3 up here, and if I take this, my team gets extra gold, I get extra gold, I get extra salts. Well, technically speaking, I don't get extra salts because I'm last hitting, so I gain less salt, but it's more gold and more pressure on the map, and the enemy loses more, which is very beneficial for us. I mean, it's 21 HP, so come on, it's free money. Senna pushing without Runans, always a pleasure. So we quickly tap this, I for some reason walk away for fun, and now I have to leave because I can't go for another one because it's too risky. I might just get killed by anyone walking from base, because I'm not strong enough to deal with 2 people at the same time. 1 is okay, but not 2. Now, as per usual, we reset back to mid lane. We could have made a detour towards the Ornn and see if we can collect some souls, but we can basically do the same on mid lane and just chill here. From this position, we can reach any point on the map and then choose what we want to do. My Kai'Sa is still respawning. I don't know when the red buff is going to dissipate. My Kai'Sa will pick it up, and now I just collect more souls. There's nothing to do, and I just get free overgrowth stacks and free souls. The next potential fight that could be happening is in 44 seconds, which is Baron Nashor, and up until then, we basically farm, look for enemy deep vision in the enemy jungle, or try to get vision control. It's basically every time the same. The enemy, however, if we have this control, cannot play into us at all, and for some reason the Fizz is having some accidents with every single spell. That's not really so much you can influence, but yeah, we have a very tanky composition. As soon as we jump onto them, they can't really defend themselves, and once this is established, we can basically just tag Nashor. Right now, my Rammus should be very keen on taking Nashor, but we have no one defending as of this moment, and if we take too long trying to get the Nashor, the Yone might be able to get one objective. And that is all the reason because the Ornn tried to defend against the Yone outside of tower range. If he just stood inside the tower, he could have just collected the wave, and we could have collected Baron Nashor, and therefore sealed the game into a, absolute victory. Now, you see, everyone is everywhere already, and there's one lane that isn't being farmed, which is the lane I was just in, and I just collect the gold there. It's literally free. I can protect my jungle, but I have to be very careful to not get one-tapped by the Yone. But if the Yone has no Q3 and no security behind him, I can just kill him. My champion can do so. So with Yone dead and everything as it is, we can basically force everything we want. Our team is already going in, and we can just follow up with our ultimate ability very easily, and there's not much they can do to defend themselves. We see the Fizz on the other side of the map, and one person should recall to deal with him. That is more than enough. Yasuo takes a lot of time to realize this, and might be a little bit late, but it's not a problem. We can just take Nashor, and if you are a Senna player, or play with a Senna, do your team a favor, please, and line up. If you line up, the Senna can heal all of you at the same time, and it makes everything so much easier because you don't take any damage anymore. Senna will heal you all without any problem. Oh, and another secret. If this is being tanked by your team, and there are melee champions tanking it, you can hide in these spots here, and then you take 0 damage. The only thing that deals damage to you are these artillery things that come down from above. But other than this, you take no damage. The difference is, if you leash this on your own and then hide behind this, you'll get the debuff and take some damage. But if you're not the one that leashes the Nashor, you will take 0 damage if you hide here and somebody is tanking it for you. But keep in mind, line up for your Senna player. And never forget, always go for more souls. Get everything you can. Don't be unlucky and don't crit. My on, for some whatever reason, doesn't want to push this wave now. So, well, okay, I just reset. I'll let him this wave. If he doesn't want to push this wave, we could wait and just see what happens next. Now we want to utilize the Baron. How do we utilize the Baron? Let's let this play a bit. And so, we want to play on multiple lanes at the same time because the enemy can't defend themselves. And I hate this friend pop-up. It's so annoying and you can't even disable it. What we want to do, we want to sync the waves and ideally have them all crash at the same time into these towers. The enemy can't defend themselves on multiple places, so they need to concentrate their forces on 1 or 2 turrets. And this means that 1 or 2 turrets will be free. If they're then stuck in rotations, you instantly take down the tower and force them again to make a decision. Which one do they want to lose and which one can't they afford to lose? Now, with the enemy being completely overextended on the bottom half of the map, we basically take footing in the mid lane and go for a play. It fails, yes, but if we hit, the enemy just dies. Because we see all the people on the map, so we can do whatever we want, and the enemy doesn't have the damage to kill us. The only person, or the only 2 people that can kill me right now are the Yone and probably the Fizz. And you see the enemy is slowly getting choked out. We get every single tower on the map. The enemy has to constantly rotate and they are stuck in a game of losing. They try really hard to do something, but with the champions they have, they really can't. And I just tapped this guy and yeah. Like, how can they defend themselves? Like, the Fizz was griefing constantly, but there's just nothing the enemy team from this position can do realistically. And then we just win the game. So now, let's go over into the second game. What? How can lose?
They've heard my story. Now, they're gonna hear my song.
How can win, how can lose? Pyke sucks against anything that has range. Nice hook, brother.
Me? Get in line.
Why is Moriana face checking that, bro? Is what is. Well,
I can do the hard way.
well. My AD carry did a slight unfortunate little whoopsie. So he died, and the Pyke will flash onto him.
Death doesn't leave scars.
The Pyke will flash onto him. He will flash and kill you. Just a matter of time.
Die again? I'll pass.
First blood.
That's enough. Death is always in range.
I would be mad. I would be mad. Where is it?
Lucian thought I was lost, but I
Oh, they're
was
50
only
cheaper.
changed.
I always forget they're 50 cheaper. This was quite the predicament. I agree.
That's enough.
mean, that was quite the...
Hear the music.
I don't know what my Rammus is thinking. I don't want to know.
The only
I
way out
don't
of
want to know.
this is through it. Death is always in range.
I don't want to know what my Rammus
Small talk wasn't
had in his
my
coffee
training.
today. Mr. Shen.
You inspire me.
On my way.
I'm
Who's winning? Duh-duh. Duh-duh, duh-duh, duh-duh. Duh-duh, duh. Pussy.
I forgive. No one else has to.
Here we are. Man, I just hate the fact that I can't just swap it out. It's so annoying. Where is my shit? Where's my shit item? There it is.
Death doesn't leave scars.
Ah, collector is not a good item. I hate collector with a passion. Bro.
I can do the hard way. The only way out of the mist
Yeah,
is
they deal
through.
damage to me. Yeah.
I'm breaking free so the fans can.
Yeah, I take damage. Yeah.
I forgive. No one else has to.
Yeah, 110 armor. Yes, we surely don't need to nerf these boots again. Yeah.
Die again? I'll pass. Hear the music. The only way out of the mist.
Did
is
you just
through.
jump in there?
That's enough.
Who knows? Maybe it will be a long stream, maybe it will be a short stream.
I can do the hard way.
What I know though, I'll get souls.
Wanna kill me? Get in line. I forgive. No one else has to.
But like, why? Why?
So the fans can
We just want to fight. We got an objective, and they're like, let's just die for fun, broskies.
Death doesn't leave scars.
That makes a lot of sense.
Slain.
That makes a little sense, my friends. Does she die to tower? No, she doesn't. Can I? On. Well,
Die again? I'll pass.
my Rammus is a little bit suspicious, I
Small talk
might
wasn't
say.
really part of my training.
He's a little bit suspicious.
Wanna kill me? Get in line. Lucian thought I was lost, but I was only changed.
Rammus, come. Come!
Enemy slain.
Rammus, I have my E. Whatever.
The only way out of the mist is through it. leave scars.
Okay, he does damage to me. Just be a little bit careful. Do you love how enemy team deals physical damage and therefore can never kill me?
So the fans can
It's
follow.
just too lovely.
The only way out of the mist is through it.
Yeah, don't you love my 2106 HP and 152 armor at minute 8? And now they will greed for my Jhin.
Lucian thought I was lost,
Come on.
but I
Come
was
on,
only
do it.
changed.
Do it. I got snitched on by my own passive.
I can do the hard way. I forgive. No one else has to.
Snitched on by my own passive.
Wild.
That's enough.
Nowhere to hide.
Small talk wasn't really my nature.
Yeah, I take damage, friends. I do take damage.
I forgive. No one else has to.
Danger.
Taking damage, speedrun any percent. Why are you diving this? Run away. Man, now I can't reset for my item. You goblin.
Wanna kill me? Get in line. Hear the music. The only way out of the mist is through it.
I'm the dragon. On my way.
What a goblin.
I'm breaking free so the fans can follow.
2370 HP. HP rising.
Death doesn't leave scars.
We are literally tankier than Rammus is. Look, we have more HP than Rammus. We have slightly less armor, but not much if he's not in his powerball.
Wanna kill me? Get in line.
Who do we have here?
Small talk wasn't really part of my training.
This is gonna be a fight here. I can
forgive.
smell it.
No one else has to.
Rammus is doing Rammus things, so they should be fine, no?
Death is always in range.
Enemy slain.
Lucian thought I was lost.
Now Rammus is,
Slain.
let's say very suspicious as a human being. I'll take it though.
The only way out of the mist is through.
I really got sucked into the fucking tower. I get yoinked into the tower. Are you serious? Like this 1 millimeter actually was the difference between life and death. And now we're all gonna die. Is that reality? Or are you? And he's gonna survive. He's still in bounds. He lives. Yeah. But what the fuck, man? Why am I getting scabbed by the game? Why is my little toe 1 pixel into the tower and the tower says, nope, fuck you, bro.
Death
Like,
doesn't
okay,
leave scars.
maybe next season.
On my way.
The only way out of the mist is through it. Lucian thought I was lost, but I was only changed. Small talk wasn't really part of my training.
Top turret is under attack. On my way. On my way.
Die again? I'll pass. Death doesn't leave scars.
Rabbits. Look at this piece of shit.
Wanna kill me? Get in line. I forgive. No one else has to. That's enough. The only way out of this is through.
Enemy slain.
I can do the hard way.
We are still alive.
I forgive. No one else has to.
But can you not get hit by every single spell on the planet? That'd be so lovely.
Lucian thought I was
Just
lost.
walk towards the
But I was
shitty
only
dragon,
changed.
bro. Why is my Rammus TPing here? Can't catch him, impossible. Ah, but Rammus.
Death doesn't leave scars. That's enough. Small talk wasn't really part of my training.
Yeah, you will kill me, bro, trust. Why is Rammus such a disturbing griefer? Like, he's so bad. Like, he could have had 3 dragons, like two dragons instantly with Mountain, and he chooses to just go for a stupid play.
Thought I was
Classic.
lost, but I was only changed.
Can die, I think.
Small talk wasn't really part of my training.
Close game as per usual.
Victory.
Rammus.
Small talk wasn't really part of my training.
He certainly is something else. I took so much damage. Crazy.